The massive Imperial observation ship hung silently in space, hidden behind its advanced cloaking technology. On its bridge, Captain Robert of the Galactic Empire's First Contact Division smiled confidently. He had overseen hundreds of First Contact missions, and this one would be no different. Earth was just another primitive world to add to the Empire's growing collection. "Status report," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of Imperial authority. "All systems nominal, sir," his second-in-command replied. "Our cloaking field is at full strength. The primitives have no way of detecting." A sharp alarm cut through the bridge's quiet atmosphere. Red lights flashed across the control panels. "Impossible," the sensor operator shouted. "We're being scanned. But the technology, it's nothing like what our records show Earth should have." Before Captain Robert could respond, a voice crackled through their communication system. It was speaking in perfect Imperial standard, a language Earth shouldn't have known existed. "Attention, unauthorized vessel." The voice was calm but carried an edge of steel. "You are in violation of Sol system space. Your cloaking technology is outdated by our standards. We tracked your approach vector 3 days ago." The bridge crew stared at their captain in shock. Robert's hands gripped his command chair tightly. "Impossible," he whispered. "They're supposed to be barely reaching their moon." "This is Admiral Reed of the Earth Defense Fleet," the voice continued. "We have 12 weapons platforms locked onto your position. Your cloaking device is being analyzed as we speak. I suggest you power down and prepare for escort out of our system." Robert's training kicked in. "This is Captain Robert of the Galactic Empire. Earth is scheduled for integration into our peaceful union of worlds. We mean you know." "Captain," Admiral Reed interrupted, "we're not interested in your sales pitch. The Galactic Empire has been on our watch list for decades. We've observed your peaceful integrations of other worlds. Earth is not interested." As if to emphasize the point, several sleek vessels shimmed into view around the Imperial ship. Their design was unlike anything in the Empire's database. They moved with a grace that suggested mastery over gravity itself. "Lord Maxwell will be notified," Robert threatened, naming the Empire's chief diplomatic envoy. "Excellent," Reed replied. "When he arrives, he can pick up the detailed report we've prepared on the Empire's recent activities in the Orion Arm, including the rather unfortunate incident with the Centauri colonies." Robert's face paled. That operation was supposed to be completely secret. A new voice joined the channel. "This is General Thompson of the United Defense Council. Consider this Earth's official position. Our solar system is off-limits to the Empire. We will not be integrated, peacefully or otherwise. Any further attempts at unauthorized entry will be met with increasingly less polite responses." As if to demonstrate their point, one of Earth's ships fired a pulse of energy that passed straight through the Imperial vessel's supposedly impenetrable shields. It didn't cause any damage, but the message was clear. It could have. "You have 1 hour to exit the system," Admiral Reed stated. "We're transmitting approved departure vectors now. Deviate from them, and we will assume hostile intent." The transmission cut off, leaving the Imperial bridge in stunned silence. "Sir," the science officer spoke up, her voice shaking slightly. "Analysis of their ship shows technology we've never encountered. Their power readings, they're using some form of energy manipulation we don't understand." Robert stared at the tactical display, watching as more Earth ships appeared. Their sensor-blocking technology was so advanced that even now, his systems couldn't get clear readings on their capabilities. "Plot a course along their approved vector," he ordered quietly, "and prepare a full report for Lord Maxwell. The Empire needs to know." He paused, watching as one of the Earth ships easily matched their course change, moving with impossible precision. "The Empire needs to know we found something very different here." As the Imperial ship retreated from Earth space, Admiral Reed and General Thompson watched from their command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. "They'll be back," Thompson said, reviewing the data from their scans of the Imperial vessel. "Of course they will," Reed nodded. "But now they know we've been watching and waiting." Let them come. Earth has surprises they haven't even begun to imagine. In the darkness of space, humanity's first official contact with the Galactic Empire ended not with submission, but with a clear message. Earth was not to be underestimated. The real question was whether the Empire would be wise enough to listen. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Empire sparkled with holographic displays, showing Earth from every possible angle. Lord Maxwell stood before the assembled council members, his usual confidence shaken by the report he held in his hands. "Distinguished council members," he began, his voice echoing in the vast chamber, "the situation on Earth requires our immediate attention. Our standard protocols for planetary integration have failed completely." High Council leader Marcus leaned forward in his crystalline throne. "Failed? The Empire does not fail, Lord Maxwell. We have integrated 10,000 worlds over 20,000 years. Earth is different," Maxwell replied, gesturing to a hologram. "Captain Roberts' encounter was not an isolated incident. We've lost contact with 37 observation probes in the last month alone." The chamber erupted in whispers. A loss of that magnitude was unheard of. "Show them," Maxwell commanded. The central hologram changed to display a recording. A small Imperial probe, supposedly invisible to primitive sensors, approached Earth's moon. Suddenly, a patrol ship appeared from nowhere. Instead of weapons, it simply projected some kind of field. The probe's systems shut down instantly. "They're not destroying our technology," Maxwell explained. "They're capturing it, studying it, and most concerning of all, improving upon it." Captain Thomas of Earth's Space Defense Force appeared in the next recording. His ship was intercepting another probe, this one using the Empire's latest stealth technology. "Nice try with the phase-shifted cloaking," Thomas's voice played through the chamber. "But you might want to account for quantum wake signatures next time. Here, let me show you how it's done." The Earth ship vanished, not just from visual sensors, but from every detection system the probe had. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Their technology is advancing at an impossible rate," Maxwell continued. "Our analysts believe it's due to their unusual development path. Their planet never unified under a single government. Instead, they maintained multiple competing nations, each developing their own military technology." "Barbarians," one council member muttered. "Barbarians who can track our best stealth systems," Maxwell countered. "Their wars forced them to develop detection systems we never needed. Their competing economies created innovation we never considered. And now," he paused, bringing up new data, "they're expanding. These are readings from the asteroid belt. Mining operations more efficient than our best systems. And here, near their red planet Mars, gravity manipulation technology we barely understand." "Impossible." High Council leader Marcus stood up. "No single world could advance so quickly." "That's just it," Maxwell explained. "They're not a single world, not in the way we understand it. They have hundreds of competing companies, dozens of space agencies, multiple military forces, all pushing each other to advance faster. Our uniform approach to technology is actually slowing us down compared to their chaos." A new hologram appeared, an Earth ship easily outmaneuvering an Imperial cruiser during another failed observation attempt. "Their ships are smaller than ours," the tactical advisor noted. "But the power readings are off our scales," Maxwell finished. "They've miniaturized technology we thought couldn't be compressed. Their ships can operate in ways our largest cruisers can't match." "And now for the worst news," he continued, his voice growing grave. "We've detected their signals reaching out to the Centauri systems, the Pleiades cluster, even the Orion arm. They're offering their innovations to other worlds. Worlds that might question why the Empire's technology suddenly seems outdated." The council chamber fell silent. The implications were clear. Earth wasn't just refusing to join the Empire, it was becoming a rival power. "We could mount a full invasion," someone suggested weakly. Maxwell shook his head. Their defensive capabilities are unknown but clearly substantial, and in failed invasion would shatter the Empire's image of invincibility forever. High Council leader Marcus sank back into his throne. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced a problem it couldn't solve with superior technology or overwhelming force. "Send another diplomatic mission," he ordered finally. "But this time we need to understand them. Really understand them. Because if we can't convince Earth to join us..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Everyone in the chamber could see the truth. The Empire had finally met its match, and it was a chaotic, divided, innovative world that refused to follow the rules of galactic civilization. Earth wasn't just saying no to the Empire. It was showing the galaxy a completely different way to advance. Admiral Wilson of the Imperial fleet stood proudly on his command bridge. Behind him, 100 of the Empire's finest warships prepared for a synchronized jump into Earth's solar system. This would be the greatest display of Imperial power ever attempted. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his tactical officer announced. "Jump calculations are locked in." Wilson smiled. After the embarrassing diplomatic failures, the High Council had authorized this show of force. 100 ships appearing simultaneously in perfect formation would surely make Earth understand the futility of resistance. "Begin jump sequence," he ordered. "Let's show these humans what real power looks like." The massive fleet engaged their jump drives. Space twisted around them as they entered the dimension humans would later call fold space. The jump should have taken exactly 3 seconds. It took 5. Wilson felt it first. The strange pull, the sense that something was wrong with the carefully plotted jump coordinates. When the fleet emerged, his blood ran cold. Instead of a perfect diamond formation, the Imperial ships were scattered across space like leaves in a wind. Some were upside down. Others were facing the wrong direction. 3 ships had emerged dangerously close to each other. "Report," Wilson shouted. "What happened to our formation?" "Unknown, sir," his navigator responded. "The jump calculations were perfect, but something affected our transit." A familiar voice came through their communications system. "Impressive attempt, Admiral Wilson. However, you might want to account for our gravity fold interference nets next time." The main screen activated, showing Admiral Reed of the Earth Defense Fleet. Behind him, Earth's ships were moving into position, easily maneuvering through the scattered Imperial formation. "You," Wilson sputtered, "you disrupted our jump." "Of course," Reed replied casually. "We've been studying your fold space technology for years. Did you really think we wouldn't develop countermeasures? Your jump signatures are quite distinctive." New data flowed across Wilson's tactical screens. The humans had somehow created a web of gravitational distortions throughout their solar system. It was invisible to normal sensors, but powerful enough to disrupt the precise calculations needed for synchronized fleet movements. "That's impossible," Wilson's science officer whispered. "The energy requirements alone." "Oh, that's just the beginning," Reed continued. "Would you like to see what else we've developed? For instance, those new shields you're so proud of." A small Earth vessel approached one of the Imperial ships. It fired what looked like a simple communication beam. Suddenly, the Imperial ship's shields flickered and died. "Quantum entanglement disruption," Reed explained. "Quite effective against your crystalline shield matrices. We reversed engineered it from one of your probe's defensive systems. Made a few improvements, of course." Wilson watched in horror as more Earth ships appeared from behind their planets and moons. His sensors hadn't detected them at all. They'd moved with impossible precision, their engines using principles his best scientists couldn't understand. "Consider this a friendly demonstration," Reed said. "Your formation jumping technology is impressive, for technology that's remained largely unchanged for 1,000 years. But humanity, we innovate daily. We compete. We improve. The Empire will not be mocked," Wilson declared, though his voice lacked conviction. "This isn't mockery, Admiral. This is education. Right now, we're running 47 different tests on your fleet's capabilities. That's what humans do. We learn, we adapt, and we prepare. Reed's expression grew serious. You have 1 hour to collect your scattered ships and leave our system. Feel free to report everything you've seen to your High Council. In fact, we insist. As the Earth ships easily weaved between the disoriented Imperial vessels, Wilson realized a terrible truth. The Empire had spent centuries perfecting its existing technology. But humans were constantly developing new technology. The gap between them wasn't closing. It was widening with each passing day. Plot a retreat course, he ordered quietly, and prepare a full report for the High Council. As the Imperial fleet limped away from Earth, Wilson watched the sensor readings of Earth's defensive systems with a mix of fear and awe. The Empire had wanted to demonstrate its power. Instead, they had demonstrated why Earth could never be conquered. The humans hadn't just caught up to Imperial technology. They had already surpassed it. Lady Diana walked through the bustling streets of New York City, her mind struggling to process what she was seeing. As the Empire's chief cultural expert, she had studied thousands of civilizations, but nothing had prepared her for Earth. "And you're saying this is just one city?" she asked her guide, Michael, an Earth diplomat assigned to her observation mission. "One of hundreds of major cities," Michael replied, "each with its own character, its own way of doing things. New York is different from Tokyo, which is different from London, which is different from Dubai." A street vendor argued with a customer about the price of hot dogs, while 3 different languages could be heard from passing conversations. Lady Diana watched in fascination as people from clearly different cultural backgrounds mixed freely on the sidewalks. "But how do you maintain order?" she asked. "In the Empire, everyone follows the same cultural protocols, the same traditions, the same way of life." Michael laughed. "That's exactly what makes Earth strong. We don't all follow the same way. Look there." He pointed to a row of restaurants. Chinese, Italian, Mexican, and Indian establishments sat side by side, each packed with customers from all backgrounds. Your Empire sees different cultures as a problem to solve. We see them as ingredients that make the whole meal better. They passed a tech store where people argued passionately about different brands of phones. "Those 2 companies," Michael explained, "are bitter rivals. They compete to make better products. Your Empire would see this as wasteful. We see it as the engine of innovation." Lady Diana watched as a protest marched past peacefully down one street, while a business meeting continued undisturbed in a nearby building. "This should cause chaos," she muttered. "In the Empire, such differences would tear society apart." "That's because you try to prevent conflicts by enforcing uniformity," Michael said. "We learn to handle conflicts by developing systems to manage them. Courts, debates, elections, free markets, even our entertainment shows different viewpoints." They entered Times Square, and Lady Diana gasped. Massive screens displayed advertisements in dozens of languages. Sports games competed with news broadcasts. Political messages mixed with entertainment. "This is what your military analysts don't understand," Michael continued. "You see our separate nations as a weakness, but each nation is a laboratory, trying different solutions to the same problems. When one finds something that works, others adapt it. We compete, cooperate, and evolve." A group of students passed by, arguing about different theories of physics. "Even your scientists work separately?" Lady Diana asked, shocked. "Especially our scientists. Right now, there are probably 1,000 different research teams working on the same problems, each trying different approaches. Your Empire would see this as inefficient. We see 1,000 chances to find the right answer." They stopped at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city. Lady Diana watched the sunset paint the sky, while aircraft of different designs crisscrossed above. "You know what really scares your Empire?" Michael asked quietly. "It's not just that we're advancing faster than you. It's that we're advancing in directions you never even thought to explore. Your unity gave you stability, but it also gave you blind spots, Our diversity lets us see possibilities you can't imagine. Lady Diana thought about her report to the High Council. How could she explain that Earth's seeming chaos was actually a form of strength? That their divided planet had created a unity far more powerful than the Empire's enforced conformity. Your Empire keeps asking how to deal with Earth, Michael said, sipping his coffee. But you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, how will the Empire deal with change? Because Earth isn't just showing the galaxy a different way to live. We're showing them a different way to grow. As the city lights began to twinkle on, Lady Diana realized she was witnessing something unprecedented in Imperial history. Earth wasn't just refusing to join the Empire's culture. It was offering the galaxy a completely different understanding of what culture could be. And deep down, she knew which version would prove stronger in the end. The Imperial Palace's grand meeting hall had never felt so tense. On one side sat the Empire's highest officials, their ornate robes and traditional symbols of power somehow seeming less impressive than usual. On the other side, Earth's diplomatic team wore simple business suits, but carried themselves with quiet confidence. Ambassador John Williams of Earth stood up, activated a holographic display, and began without ceremony. "Let's be direct," he said. "The Empire has two choices. Option 1. Recognize Earth's complete independence and sovereignty over the Sol system. Option 2. Face total technological and economic isolation from not just Earth, but our growing network of independent trading partners." Lord Maxwell of the Empire frowned. "You dare threaten the Empire with isolation? We control trade routes across half the galaxy." "Controlled," Williams corrected. Past tense. "Show them." A hologram changed to display trade routes across the galaxy. Dozens of new paths lit up in green, bypassing traditional Imperial routes entirely. "These are the new trading networks we've established in just the past 6 months," Williams explained. "Using our gravity-full technology, we've created faster, safer trading routes, and we're sharing this technology with any world that wants to trade independently." The Imperial officials whispered among themselves as more data appeared. Earth ships were faster, more efficient, and could carry more cargo than Imperial vessels. Worse, they were helping other worlds build their own ships. "Impossible," one Imperial minister declared. "No single world could establish such a network so quickly." "Again, you're thinking like the Empire," Williams smiled. "We didn't do this as a single world. We have hundreds of competing trading companies, each finding their own partners and routes. What you see here is the result of free market competition." He brought up new images showing Earth technology being used on various worlds. Advanced farming equipment in the Centauri colonies, new mining techniques in the Pleiades sector, medical technology in the Orient systems. "While your Empire was trying to force us to join you," Williams continued, "we were busy making friends, trading partners, allies. We offer them something you never could, the freedom to develop their own way." Lord Maxwell stood up angrily. "The Empire brings order and stability to the galaxy. The Empire brings stagnation," Williams countered. "Your one-size-fits-all approach to civilization is failing. We're offering worlds a choice, and they're choosing innovation over control, progress over stability, freedom over conformity." The hologram showed dozens of worlds now using Earth's communication networks, defense systems, and trading protocols, each one representing a crack in the Empire's supposed unity. "Here's our ultimatum," Williams said firmly. "Recognize Earth's independence. Acknowledge our sovereignty. Accept that the Sol system is off-limits to Imperial control. In return, we'll consider limited trade agreements with the Empire, through proper diplomatic channels only." "And if we refuse?" Lord Maxwell asked quietly. "Then we continue expanding our independent trading network. We keep sharing our innovations with other worlds. We keep showing the galaxy that there's another way to progress. How long do you think your Empire will last when everyone realizes they can advance faster without you?" The Imperial officials looked at their data tablets, seeing the numbers they couldn't deny. Earth-based technologies were already spreading across the galaxy. Trade routes were shifting. The Empire's grip on galactic commerce was slipping. "You have one standard week to decide," Williams concluded. "We'll continue our operations either way. The only question is whether the Empire wants to adapt to the new reality or be left behind by it." As the Earth delegation prepared to leave, Lord Maxwell asked one final question. "Why? Why not just fight us directly?" Williams turned back with a slight smile. "Because we don't need to. Your empire is based on the idea that you have the best way of doing everything. We're simply showing the galaxy that there are other options, better options. The Empire isn't our enemy. It's just becoming irrelevant." The Imperial officials watched them leave, understanding a hard truth. Earth hadn't just refused to be conquered. It had changed the rules of how galactic civilization itself worked. And the Empire was running out of time to adapt. The Imperial capital world of Nova Prime was in chaos. Protesters filled the streets outside the High Council building. They carried signs written in dozens of languages, all demanding the same thing: freedom to trade with Earth. Inside the council chamber, High Council leader Marcus watched the live feeds with growing horror. "Another system has declared independence," his aide reported. "The Proxima colonies are refusing to accept Imperial authority. They're already installing Earth's defensive systems." Marcus slammed his fist on his crystalline throne. How has this happened so quickly?" Commander James of Earth's diplomatic corps stood calmly at the center of the chamber, watching the feeds. He hadn't asked for this emergency meeting. The Empire had called him. "Would you like me to explain?" James asked quietly. "Please do," Marcus growled. "Explain how Earth has turned half our outer systems into rebels in less than a month." James gestured to one of the protest feeds. "We didn't turn anyone into rebels. We just showed them what freedom looks like. Your outer worlds have watched Earth resist your empire. They've seen our technology, our progress, our way of life, and they've asked themselves a simple question: why do we need the Empire?" New alerts flashed across the screens. The Orion Defense Fleet, once the Empire's proudest military force, was refusing orders to suppress the independence movements. "Your own military is asking the same question," James continued. "They've seen how Earth's competitive defense companies constantly improve our technology. Meanwhile, your forces use the same standardized equipment they've had for centuries." Marcus watched helplessly as more reports of rebellion poured in. Trade routes were shutting down. Imperial currencies were losing value. Earth's gravity-fold ships were bypassing traditional Imperial checkpoints completely. "This is your doing," an Imperial minister accused. "You've been secretly supporting these rebellions." "Nothing secret about it," James replied. "We've been quite open about sharing our defensive technologies with any world that wants to protect its independence, just like we've shared our trading systems, our manufacturing techniques, our medical advances." He brought up his own holographic display, showing the spread of Earth-based innovations across the galaxy. It looked like a wave of change washing away the old Imperial order. "Your empire is built on the idea that you know best," James explained. "That your way is the only way. But Earth has shown the galaxy something different: the power of choice, of competition, of letting each world find its own path." Another alert: the Centauri systems, the Empire's richest mining colonies, had just announced they were switching to Earth's new currency system. "Your economy is collapsing," James said, not unkindly. "Not because we attacked it, but because we offered something better. Your military is deserting not because we defeated them, but because we showed them a better way to advance. Your worlds are declaring independence not because we conquered them, but because they've realized they don't need you anymore." High Council leader Marcus slumped in his throne. "What do you want? To destroy the Empire completely?" "Not at all," James smiled. "We want you to change, to adapt, to learn what Earth learned long ago, that true strength comes from freedom, not control, from diversity, not uniformity, from competition, not conformity. He walked to the window, watching the protests below. Your empire doesn't have to end. It just has to evolve. Accept that worlds can be independent and still work together. Understand that different cultures and systems can coexist and make each other stronger. And if we refuse to change, Marcus asked, then you'll be left behind. James said simply, Earth didn't need to destroy your empire. You're doing that yourselves by refusing to adapt. The galaxy is changing. The only question is whether the empire will change with it. As if to emphasize his point, another system declared its independence. The wave of change wasn't just spreading, it was accelerating. The empire's choice was becoming clear: evolve or fade into history. And time was running out to decide. The signing ceremony took place in a neutral location, a space station orbiting Jupiter. Through its massive windows, both Earth and Imperial representatives could see the gas giants' swirling storms, a reminder of nature's raw power and constant change. Admiral Reed stood with Earth's delegation, watching as Imperial ships arrived through designated safe corridors in Earth's gravity-fold defense network. Their once proud warships now moved cautiously, conscious of their position as guests rather than conquerors. Quite a change from their first arrival, Captain Thomas remarked quietly beside him. Remember when they thought they could simply claim our system? The galaxy's changed more in 6 months than it did in the Empire's last 1,000 years, Reed replied, observing the Imperial diplomats approaching the conference room. Lord Maxwell led them, his traditional robes now modified with subtle Earth-inspired designs, a small but telling detail. The conference room itself showcased the new balance of power. The Imperial delegation sat not at the head of the table, but as equals among representatives from 20 newly independent systems. Earth's delegation sat directly opposite them, their simple uniforms a stark contrast to Imperial finery. Ambassador Williams stood to speak first. We're here to formalize a new relationship between Earth, the independent systems, and what will now be known as the Reformed Empire. The age of forced integration is over. The age of voluntary cooperation begins. Lord Maxwell nodded, activating a holographic display showing the new galactic map. The once solid Imperial borders were now a network of interconnected but independent regions, each managing its own affairs while participating in a larger trade and defense alliance. The Empire acknowledges Earth's complete sovereignty, Maxwell announced, his voice carrying none of its old arrogance. The Sol system is officially recognized as independent space, with Earth controlling all access through its gravity-fold networks. The treaty's terms appeared in the air between them. Earth would maintain its ban on unauthorized Imperial entry, but would permit regulated trade and diplomatic missions. The Empire would transition from a system of control to one of cooperation, with each member world free to develop its own path. Earth's technological innovations would be shared through fair trade, not Imperial mandate. A new Galactic Council would be formed, where all worlds, Imperial and independent alike, would have equal voice. As the delegates reviewed the terms, Admiral Reed noticed something fascinating. The Imperial representatives were taking notes on Earth tablets, their own technology already seeming outdated. Some were even wearing Earth-manufactured communication devices. "You've already won," Lord Maxwell said quietly to Williams during a break. "Not through war or conquest, but through progress itself. The Empire can't compete with Earth's innovation." Williams smiled. "That's because you're still thinking in terms of competition. We're offering partnership. Your Empire has experience maintaining stability across vast distances. We have experience promoting innovation through controlled chaos. Together, we can build something better than either of us could alone." The signing proceeded smoothly. One by one, representatives from Earth, the Empire, and the independent systems formalized the new galactic order. As they did, Reed's tactical display showed Imperial ships throughout the galaxy already adopting Earth's protocols, eager to remain relevant in the changed universe. "The Empire feared us because they thought we would destroy them," Thomas observed. "Instead, We saved them from their own stagnation. That's humanity's real strength, Reed replied. Not just our technology or our military power, but our ability to show others a better way without forcing it upon them. As the ceremony concluded, Earth's space traffic control was already processing applications from Imperial worlds seeking trade permissions. The Empire's 1,000-year-old borders were dissolving not through conquest, but through choice. Earth is no longer just the world that banned the Empire. Williams declared in his closing speech, "We are the world that showed the galaxy a new way forward. Our system is not perfect, but it is alive. It grows, it adapts, and now it's not just humanity's future, it's the galaxy's." Outside the station's windows, Imperial and Earth ships maneuvered together in a ceremonial display. But everyone noticed that the Earth ships moved with just a bit more grace, just a bit more efficiency, not as a show of force, but as a promise of what was possible when innovation was truly free. The Empire had wanted to absorb Earth. Instead, Earth had transformed the Empire, turning an ancient force of stagnation into a partner in progress. The forbidden world had become the galaxy's guiding light.